I don't have PTSD because I kill somebody or they almost killed me. None of that bothers me, because when you go to, if you really are a warrior, a soldier, you go in there knowing what you're getting into. It's like being a boxer. I didn't become a professional boxer by being afraid. I went in knowing what's going to happen to me. Okay, and I went in and I fought because I enjoyed it. Sounds kind of okay, maybe a little sick, but I enjoyed the sport. I enjoyed the combat. Same thing with this. I enjoy combat. I enjoy leveraging all my skills, my tactics, my weapon systems, and everything, and meeting the enemy. This is why in Aden, we didn't have anything. I had a 30-year-old Chi-Com AK-47. Literally, Vietnam vintage shit is what I had. I had to make all my gear to carry my magazines. We all did, right? We improvised everything. We were no better equipped and armed than Al-Qaeda. We're going to go on the battlefield with the same tools, right? Same Nikes, but the difference was going to be who was the better soldier. And that's, I know I am, right? So I'm going to beat them all day long because I'm actually a soldier. They're just a bunch of goons, right? And so, so I look at it like that, and so I sleep good at night, not because of what I've done. I sleep good because of what I didn't do. I didn't murder nobody. People that had it coming. They deserved it. And the other thing, but the thing that probably bothers me more than anything else, and this is what doesn't trigger me anymore so much, the PTSD. It's not seeing combatants getting killed and you're killing them and them all killing you. It's actually when you start seeing the collateral effect, when you start seeing dead women and children and babies crying and people screaming, that are affected by this. That's the part that you take home, because if you're already a father, as I am, and you're married, and just think of your family, and you're like, man, there's one example. I was up in Tikrit, Saddam's home city, hometown, and there was a daylight assault, and I was going to lead the unit, in a daylight assault on this guy that we know was an IED maker. And, but they lived in these row houses over there. They're all connected. It's like one long wall. It's hard to tell which one is which. They all look alike, right? And so I had to go in and do a, what do you call a CTR, a close target reconnaissance. So basically I'm going to go in dressed up like an Arab, hodged out, in my pickup truck, and I'm going to drive by his house and look at it and positively identify it. PID, that's him, that's the car, that's blah, 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 blah. Okay, good. I know my way in. I know the way out. Then I go back, I pick them up, they follow me in. And so that's what we did. And as we go in, there was a red car parked there, and now it's not there. In a little bit of time, it was gone. That was kind of one of my reference points. But I didn't just count on that, but it just made everything look different. There's no more red car here, right? And all these buildings are white. And so I pull up, I'm like, shit. And I'm hoping I'm getting this one right. And I did get it right, because as soon as I slow down, the guys behind me start bailing out. And they're going in full bore, man, through the front gates and stuff. And there was this little kid there on the street, on the sidewalk, about 2 years old. And it turns out it's the target's son. And he's just coming unhinged, man. The kid's screaming, oh my God, man, mouth wide open. He's 2 years old. He's just freaking, mortified, man. And then, these guys are going in, and I'm out of the vehicle, and I got my weapon in hand, starting to, prepare to pick up security for them. And then I look over at this kid, and all I could see was my 2-year-old son standing there, right? And I remember my kid crying like that one time when I left him at the daycare. And it just kind of just all came flashing back, because I felt so bad when I left him at the daycare, because he's looking out the window screaming, his mouth was wide open, and he's, Daddy, that kind of thing. And I had to leave him because I got to go to work. What am I going to do? And that was so hard to, to do that. And I'm sure a lot of parents can identify with that. And so now I see this kid that reminds me of my own kid, the same crying on his face and screaming. It just brought back all these emotions, man. All I could do was just run over there and grab him. I pick him up in my arm. I'm kind of holding him. Got the rifle in my other hand, trying to pull security. Like, come on, little buddy, it's going to be okay, And they're in there going, tightening up his dad. And so those are the kind of things that can have a real impact, on your emotions and stuff like that. I got so many of these cases. I'll share. What
ended up happening to the kid?
Actually, after they picked him up, we went in. We didn't take the women, right? So we only wanted the guy, right? So if there's women in the house, whatever, hey, here's a little boy, right? Take care of him, that type of thing. So we usually just left him. Can't take him out. Dad's going away probably for a very long time. But, you know, those are kind of things that, you know, you get caught. Like another example, I'll use Afghanistan. I remember one time, so we're in a base camp, a very small base camp. It's just me and 10 or 11 other Americans. 2 of us are shooters. The rest are just support logs, stuff like that. And we are at 7,000 feet elevation on the side of on the ridge of a high mountain. And then we put an OP, a listening post, observation post at 9,000 feet on the tip. We put a platoon up there, right? They're behind HESCO sandbags, right? And their job was provide overwatch. They can see 360, you know, and give us some top cover if we needed. And we rotate them out every month. So next month, another platoon would come up there. And so what was happening was, so we're on this side of the mountain, OP's up here, and then on this side of the mountain down here is a Taliban village. So the Taliban, every morning, they would do 2 things. One, they would lob mortars over the mountain on top of us, and then I would have to run out and grab my mortar section and lob mortars back. And then the other thing they'd do was send Taliban up the side, and they would start sniping our guys in the OP position, start shooting them, right? And they had, there's like 3 or 4 different ways they could get up there, right? Trails. But there's all ended in a certain same area, and that's where they'd shoot from. And so I'd been there for a while now. Now I'm getting a little annoyed, you know. It's like, you know, I hate, because they always do it at 4:30 in the morning. You know why they do it at 4:30 in the morning? Well, 1, that's when the sun comes up, and 2, that's when they do have their prayer call. They're all going to go pray. So they're like, hey, guys, let's go to church and pray, and hey, why don't we just throw some mortars at those guys on the way, right? So it was like a morning event, right? I was way on to mosque or whatever, right? Yeah. And then, you know, they wake Dale up at 4:30. I want to sleep, you know, and, you know, so I got to get out of bed. So now I'm hangry and mad.
Right.
So so one day I decided, you know what? They're popping our guys up there, and I need to do something about it. So I took a patrol of my Afghans with me. We go up there, and I have them stay back, pull security. And then what I do is I go over to where I know Taliban's been coming up and taking sniper shots, right? So I know where the trails are. And so I booby trap all the trails. Right, I put tripwire on there, hand grenades. I set it all up. So anybody comes through is going to get fragged. Right, they come up there, and got all set up. And then my guys didn't know where I put it. I intentionally didn't tell them because, like I said earlier, sometimes we had actually Taliban in our ranks. So why I don't want to expose this information to a possible Taliban guy. Right, so then they come up and get free hand grenades if they don't get blown up by one. So we leave, we go back down to the base. I got to leave within 2 days or something like that, go home for vacation for 30 days. And so I take off. I come back, and my contemporary's still there. His name was Dave. Dave and I were always at the same camp together, right? Dave was a former Green Beret, really jolly old guy. Just a really good guy, man. Very funny, told jokes, just the life of the camp. He actually committed suicide in Southern Pines, North Carolina, when they just walked outside and shot himself with a 45 and got it over with.
Fuck.
Yeah, I knew he had some things going on, but I didn't know there was that much going on. But so I remember coming back, and he's already there. I said, "Hey, Dave, what's going on?" I said, you know, and normally what we do is we give each other a sit rep, an update of what happened in the last 30 days while you're gone. Okay, this is what we've been doing, blah, blah, blah. I go, so I said, how'd my booby traps work out? And he was really cavalier about it. He said, oh, let me see, you killed a goat and a little boy. I was like, stop, what? He goes, yeah, you killed a little boy and a goat. And I said, what? Tell me more. And so apparently what happened was, I say a little boy, he was about 14, and his dad sent him up there to basically recover spent brass, unexploded UXO, anything they could salvage, right, for make money. It's, you know, brass, stuff like that, right? So Pops knew that, you know, there's stuff laying up there, and he sent little Johnny up to go collect it all and bring it back. Well, little Johnny went up there after the goat walked through one of my booby traps. He walked through one of them and killed him, right?
Oh, okay.
And now the weird part is, and I've never gotten the answer on this, but so Dave told me they found the boy's body down in the dump. And I said, that makes no sense, because Muslims, they have basically they're required to bury their dead within 24 hours, right? So why would they put them in the dump? Something's not adding up. It didn't make any sense. So he goes, well, then the father says, one out. She goes, so I got another one. He's 10 years old. You get your ass up there. So he sends the 10-year-old up there, right? He walks through a booby trap, takes a leg off.
Oh my God.
Right? So I said, so I got killed one, wounded one, and a goat. He goes, yeah. And I had to do some soul searching. I was like, is that something I want to keep doing? Do I want to leave those booby traps up there? Because the intent was to kill the bad guys and protect the good guys, right? Because I got soldiers up there that are fathers, husbands, brothers. They're soldiers. They're loyal. They go to combat. They go to fight with me. I need to protect them, right? So that's what I was trying to do. And so, but this was what happens. And so after doing a little bit of soul searching, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Those guys are just going to have to do a better job of protect themselves or hide behind a sandbag. I said, that's it, man. I said, I'm going to go back up there and disassemble everything. So I took the patrol back with me. But this time when I got up there, in that 30 days that I was gone, there was a 155 artillery strike on that hilltop because somebody called it in because the Taliban was up there, right? So when I got up there, I didn't recognize anything. All the trees were split in half and branches, it was a big mess. I'm like, holy shit. But I knew the booby traps were probably still hanging in there, right? So look, it'd be very irresponsible for me to leave those things there. Just fucking leave them there. Somebody's going to get killed one day, right? And so I can't do that. Responsibly, I can't do that, right? I got to recover the shit or make an attempt. So I go out there and sure enough, man, some of them were just hanging by a thread. I'm like, oh my God, man. It's like, shit, I get a strong breeze. I might get vaporized here. So I sneak up to these things and see the pins are already out. So what's holding them together actually was the spoon on the hand grenade. And I put it back into, they come in these cans, right? And you slide the hand grenade in the can. So the hand grenade was armed, but inside the can, it had tripwire on it that was tied off to another hand grenade over here or to a tree or whatever, a stationary point. And when you walk through the wire, you pull the grenade out, it flips the spoon and it goes off, right? Well, apparently what happened, mine were all doubles, right? So if you pull the grenades out, they're going to wrap around your ankles like a bolo and you're not going to get them off. You're going to die, right? You're going to have two hand grenades hanging around your feet trying to wobble away.
Right.
So, I was able to go up and sneak up and catch a couple of them, and then I just threw them down the mountain over the side where the Taliban was, let them have it, right? So rain on them. But I did recover it. But the point I'm trying to make about all that is those are the kind of things that I think about, you always think about that. It's like, God, man, you don't get to escape war. If you're a combatant, if you're a combat soldier, if you're out the guy that's slinging lead with the bad guys at very close ranges, you don't get to escape war without something mental going on after that, man. You're gonna carry something with you, right? And for me, it wasn't the fear of dying, it wasn't killing bad guys. It was like watching innocent people suffer. And that's the hard part, man, because you know why I can relate to that? Because I have a family,
right?
And when I see these people, I'm thinking my kids, my wife is like, man, I watch women screaming. Oh my God, man, I've never heard women scream like that in horror and fear and stuff as we're taking out their freaking brothers and husbands. And, it's like, and I'm mad at the men. It's like, why would you put your women in this position?
Right.
Why would you do that, man? Idiots. But they don't care. They don't care. It's some type of sickness for sure.